Most of my life I'd felt shame, like there was something wrong with me, who I was as a person, and that at any minute people were gonna find out that I just didn't belong. My childhood was chaotic. My parents had a lot going on. My dad was in and out, always into drugs, and kind of lived a rock and roll style lifestyle. And my mom always had her own life going on, and I felt abandoned. I felt like I was disposable. I was sexually abused and introduced to pornography when I was 4, and that led me to believe that I didn't have control over my body, that I wasn't allowed to have a say in what happened to me physically. As I got older, I didn't value myself. I'd kind of felt like I'd been stripped of my value, or that I hadn't been born with any. I believed these ideas that when I could find value, it came from a desirability, and that love was shown through sexual touch. So I spent the next 15 years of my life trying to create this sense of value in myself that I really believed could only be accomplished through being wanted and being desired sexually. And it led me into working in the sex industry and working in prostitution and porn, and just robbed me of any sense of value that I had left, that just put this despair in my heart that led me to the answer seeming like ending my life was the best thing for me. I'd been told about this place for 4 or 5 years from my family at Mission, and I just decided, like, okay, God, I'm ready to try things your way, and I'm ready to listen. And I had come to this fork in the road where I had decided that either I was going to do things this way and try God's way and try getting help, or I was just going to kill myself and just be done. And at that point, I just kind of decided like I couldn't live this way anymore, and I needed something more. So after 20 years of feeling like I was never enough, feeling like I was a secondary character in my own life, I was given the gift of being able to go and live amongst these women that for the next year just loved me. And my beliefs were just counteracted. Everything that I had told myself and that I had put myself in situations to where other people could tell me those same lies was being proven to not be true by the way that these women were caring for me. And as I came to believe that God was who He says He was, that with that came the acceptance that if this is true, then I must be who God says that I am. And with that came the understanding that God calls me beloved. Like, He calls me redeemed. He calls me pure despite anything that was done to me or that I've done to myself, that I could have this new start and this new relationship where I could find my identity in who He said I was, and that this time my He could be Christ. And He called me new, and He told me that my sins were washed white as snow, and that the old was gone and that the new was here. And as far as the east is from the west, He'd forgotten everything that I had done. So growing up, I shared this love of horses with my mom, and we didn't share a whole lot. it was like this part of my childhood that hadn't been tainted by the abuse that I'd gone through. And what amazes me is how personal God has been in my journey of healing, and he's put me in this position where I work in a ministry that uses horses, and every day I get to come out here and I get to spend time with them, and I'm able to continue having that safe place, and I'm able to give that experience to other people and help them, feel those same feelings of honesty and purity with the interactions that they're able to have with these horses. That has just been such a gift and is continuing to help me as I move on in healing and I move on in just trying to live this life as a much-loved child of God. As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins, in which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air. All of us also lived among them at one time, gratifying the cravings of our flesh and following its desires and thoughts. Like the rest, we were by nature deserving of wrath. But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ even when we were dead in transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved.